When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
Fan.
Don't let this one get away. The Northwest Sports Show, March 13th through the 16th at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Find the newest in fishing and outdoor gear, boats, RVs, travel, power sports, and more. There's no better time to try, buy, and save. And make sure to join 9 Noon's Nordo this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for the Friday Night Fish Fry. Get all the details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
Well, it's not really a concert, but it's a great event, and you can meet Nordo at the Fish Fry. I'm Comedy's 10 to be. The legendary Mark Rosen joins us now. Ben Johnson, out as Minnesota men's basketball coach. Your thoughts?
You know, it's something that we're used to, unfortunately, here in Minnesota sports land, especially with the University of Minnesota. Lindsey Whalen, much more of an iconic name than Ben Johnson. For whatever reasons, couldn't get it done. I mean, again, she also, like Ben, didn't have any previous head coaching experience.
That's correct.
Which doesn't help when you
didn't have any coaching, did she?
No, period. I don't believe so. Now she's with Cheryl, right? With the
I think you're right. Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's the number one reason why for both of them. But you got an iconic name like Lindsey Whalen, and Ben Johnson's not in that same category. But to me, this goes. And I heard you guys talking earlier. I think this goes before nil in the transfer portal. The one thing that, when it comes to basketball in particular, but you could say football to a certain extent, but more basketball, that the Gophers have been behind the 8 ball, behind. I like to compare them with Wisconsin Badgers all the time because I think, well, how is Wisconsin doing this? Even before nil, before the portal, basically, recruiting 3 guys from Lakeville South, filling in the blanks with a couple other players, looking at not having, as you like to call them, all-American players from
McDonald's or
Burger King, whatever it is.
In and out.
For the most part, they always have nice ball players, but every single year it seems like you're looking up at Wisconsin. All of a sudden, Wisconsin's not only in the Sweet 16, they might make it to the Final Four. They're grade 8. They're there all the time,
right?
And that's continued on. So there's the word stability comes to mind. Whether it's the athletic director, the head coach. When they transfer the coaches from one to another, the recruiting must be, spot on. there are so many cracks in the foundation. I mean, I don't know, the arena, you can throw everything in the kitchen sink for what's been going on here at the university. So again, you can look at the AD, you can look at the coach, you can look at the players that recruit, you can look at Williams Arena.
Lack of nil money.
Oh, now it is. I mean, I don't think.
Oh, I see. You're still
I'm
talking
about
about
even before that.
Right.
But now, yes. I mean, I think you see PJ Fleck making great inroads with nil money, and he's just a better. Look, I think Ben would be the first to say it. PJ is just a better salesman. I mean, he's as anyone's been around PJ Fleck knows, he can sell you on a lot of things.
I think he started at Coon Rapids Chrysler Plymouth, as a matter of fact.
He may have, but he's very good at that, and so adding to the inexperience. Look, I'm not going to sit. I watched some Gopher basketball this year. It was hard to watch. I'm sure people who spend a lot more time watching them could be critical of some of the X's and O's. But generally speaking, what I've seen and what I saw was they had Dawson Garcia. They had the emergence of a couple of young players.
That was about it. They had a couple nice wins. They went on the road. They won at UCLA. They won at USC. Then they come back. Yeah, those back-to-back wins.
Yeah, but it wasn't something that was sustainable. So, I'm not surprised really in the least. The question is, where does Mark Coyle, who deserves his share of accountability, if nothing else, about quit saying things like we want to compete for championships.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah. And we know you want to. Every team should.
Every team wants to compete for championships, but that's not a legitimate conversation to be had right now. It's how do you move the needle at all? And so are you going to spend another, I mean, they have to pay Ben, what, $3-some million, I think that is payout, whatever. Are you going to spend big bucks? Where are you going to get it from to hire a top, a top A coach, a big name? I mean, this team has been. I told you I had a fun morning with Bobby Jackson and John Thomas last week. That's the only time the Gophers have ever been to a Final Four, and then of course they had it stripped from them because of the Ganglegate. The team itself was incredible, and I've covered other really good teams with. Kevin Lynch and Jim Chickenjansky and, going back to, McHale and Flip Saunders and Michael Thompson and James Jackson and, all those teams that going back to Bill Musselman.
Whitey Herzog.
But that was decades ago. I barely remember it. So I don't know. Again, I don't compare Minnesota saying, well, they ought to be where, Duke is or where, this year it seems like a lot of the football schools are. You're going to hear their names a lot next week when the Sweet 16, March Madness begins. Auburn and Tennessee and these are Alabama. These are schools you normally associate with football more than basketball, but because of nil money, probably more than anything, they're now able to compete at the highest levels in college basketball. But again, this is not Tom Izzo of Michigan State. Every single year, that the Spartans are going to be there. But again, it seems like nearly every single team in the Big Ten has had its day in the sun for college basketball. And we know how many great high school kids, it's gotten better and better and better over the years here. And because they have not been able to keep the Tyus Jones or the Chet Holmgrens or the Jalen Suggs, you go down the list, going back to Khalid El Amin, it would take one or two guys maybe to do that. And there's been a couple guys that have stuck around. But it has, again, going back to the word, there's been nothing that's been sustainable. So it's not just, they fired Ben Johnson. Great. Okay, well, he deserves to lose his job. Well, okay, great. I understand why you have to switch coaches. Now what?
Yeah, and
that's
a number of people. It's interesting. I get texts, on a regular basis. John Bryan, right. KFAN text line. By the way, we're broadcasting live from the climate-controlled 651 Carpets Plus studios. That you'll have people say, well, they were bad before nil money. Then the next person writes, well, we don't have any nil money. And it's right, both can be true.
Correct.
We did have trouble. Right. We did have trouble before nil money. We still do. who's next is always going to be the question. The name's Ryan Saunders has already come up. Jim Dutcher's name will come up again, I'm sure.
It's his kid.
His kid. Yeah. What's his kid's name?
Brian.
Brian Dutcher.
Who's been around, yeah.
And then the Musselman kid.
Eric.
Eric is there. I think all three, I think, didn't Dutcher or Musselman campaign for the job on a couple of different occasions? I mean, I think both would love to come back here because of their connection.
I don't know.
I thought Dutcher wanted to.
I think Brian at one point did.
I think he wanted the job. So that's my point, was that these were guys, and I think maybe I'm wrong, but I also thought. Did
you mention Ryan Saunders too? Or no?
Yeah, we just did. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think Musselman would have taken the job at one time as well. Probably. I think because of their connection to the university through their fathers.
Right.
Same with Flip. Both Musselman and Dutcher have had success.
Oh, yeah.
As college coaches. I don't know if those names make a difference or not. I mean, it's like the local connection is only good to bring for those coaches to have an interest in coming here. But we've talked about this before. How many young Minnesota kids that are playing right now, kids that are playing in the state tournament coming up here, sections right now, and then state tournament comes up. How many of them know who Jim Dutcher is, know who Musselman is, or Saunders? Maybe Saunders because it was a little more recent, but it's like they don't know who those people. They have no connection to the barn. They have no connection to the U of M. So I don't think that. So that's not to say that should eliminate those coaches from consideration if they would want to come here. The hard part is, I think I saw the same, I don't know if it's nonsense, but it's the same thing you hear about, Coyle will say, we're a Big Ten team and a big university, we're a very desirable spot. I don't know how desirable it is because I never hear any major names, guys, and again, you're not going to get a guy like Izzo to jump from Michigan State to here. But I mean, even the up and coming names, you don't hear the up and coming names go, this guy just took this program from nowhere. Now it's here. It's like, boy, we could probably get him to come to Minnesota. Well, he's getting offers from other basketball schools that have a better reputation.
Where are the Kevin O'Connells of college basketball? Yeah, I mean, when you have a top assistant like Kevin was, and then he gets a head coaching job in the NFL, and this year he's coach of the year. And you hope it's sustainable. Again, that's the word I want to use. I mean, the Vikings are looking at what they're doing as sustainable. Now they got a rookie quarterback. We think. Don't get into that right now.
Could be Aaron Rodgers.
He's walking on the beach.
Can you take a real quick look for me? Has Rodgers signed anywhere yet?
Still a free agent.
Okay. All right. He's still a free agent, Mark.
Okay.
Is he not still a free agent? Until he signs somewhere.
He's a free spirit is what he is.
Oh, there's that too. Let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll come back when we do more with Mark Rosen. 10 to be in the Common Man. Right here on the Fan.
It's tax season, and by now, I know we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's an important one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Here's another, 20%. That's the overall increase in identity theft related to tax fraud in 2024 alone. But it's not all grim news. Here's a good number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's US-based restoration specialists will fix it, backed by another good number, the $1 Million Protection Plan. In fact, restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Don't face identity theft and financial losses alone. There's strength in numbers with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection for tax season and beyond. Join now and save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code IHEART or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you. Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm calm and he's 10 to be. Legendary Mark Rosen is here as well. Soon to be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings have been very active in free agency. Both players outside the organization are now inside, and those that are inside have stayed inside, including the safety. The hitman, Harrison Smith, signs with the Vikings for I think, was it 14th season with the club?
I think it sounds about right.
I think it's 14 years,
Yeah.
and he will be back patrolling the safety position again. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, congrats. Round of applause for Harry the Hitman and for the Vikings organization for rewarding a man who richly deserves it.
That must have been the contract that Karn was working on yesterday that was on her desk. That'd be my guess.
It's possible.
I'm just guessing, yeah.
Yeah, well, she had budget meetings yesterday, so that may have been part of the budget. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, HOF material, and when he gets introduced at U.S. Bank Stadium, he's usually the last one when they introduce the defense. He's the last one. He gets the biggest round of applause, and I think fans have always appreciated Harry. And he's just a guy under the radar. And it's interesting because I saw Lieber tweet something out about. I guess all those tears we shed in Arizona, whatever, were forgotten. It was, tongue in cheek,
right? About
the fact that it looked like Harrison was having kind of an emotional goodbye after the playoff loss to the Rams, and Lieber was there to see it all and watch it all for a guy who's kind of keeps everything close to the vest, and that would have been the indication like, hey, I'm saying goodbye. I mean, and certainly he was in control of a lot of it, and he would be able to sit down with Rob Brzezinski, et cetera, and work out a contract that was, amenable to both sides. And but more importantly, from a Viking standpoint, is the dude could still play. I mean, he's kept himself in great shape. As you like to say, he has what he's lost in the step he's got with cunning and guile. I mean, he understands. He's like the proverbial coach on the field, and still plays the game at a high level and does not make many mistakes. So in his position, he doesn't have to be a cornerback who has to keep up with the fastest receivers. He just understands how to read offenses and how to put his fellow defensive players in the best possible position. So it's a great move. And it leaves them with one less thing they have to worry about on their defense, and that's having basically their captain back there.
And while I'm not sure all the reasons why, there would be, it looks like another nice payday. Mm-hmm. He likes to play the game, obviously. And my guess also is without a championship, the way the team, at least on paper, looks like this is a team that could make a nice run. So you mix all those together, and then, I say this over and over again, Guys like me and you, as long as they'll have us, we can work our careers till we drop. If you're a pro athlete, Father Time always catches up with you eventually. So it's
sure
like,
does.
if you could squeeze one more year, because he's not going to be able to go forever. So it's like, this probably will be the last. I guess you could never say he couldn't do one more, but you just think, well, if I retire now, will I regret not coming back one last year?
I think it's a great point because especially looking at the improvements they've made on paper defensively, and the one thing you don't want to do is go, well, you know what? I don't want to hang on for one more year. I kind of lost a half step, or I don't really have it in me. I'll sit this one out. And then you watch your team finally get to the big game or something, and I'm not a part of it. I can't even imagine how that would feel. I'm not saying that's the number one reason why. He's admitted he still loves the game. He loves Sundays. And there's certain guys that I've been around in my entire career who, not necessarily the greatest practice players in the world, they're not thrilled about 2-a-days, and we're out there in August. Most players aren't, but come Sunday, they're ready to strap it on. And Harrison's one of those guys that just loves the strategy, loves the contact, loves everything about it. So I'm glad he's back.
I don't know if the Vikings are done with free agency. There's still a number of players out there. I think probably, unless they do sign Aaron Rodgers, which most people feel is unlikely, I don't think there's going to be some big blockbuster move. I think most of the ones they've made are the ones that they were really wanting. You got to act fast in free agency because they go quick. The best players are gone. Right. Yeah. The best players, they're gone fairly quick. So the Vikings, that's why on day 2, they locked up a center, a right guard, and 2 inside defensive tackles for the defense. Well, and it seems like, again, if you look at those players' body of work, they've been very successful players. 3 of them missed a big portion of last year with injuries. To me, is that a cause for concern? Not really, just because it seems like everybody gets hurt. Unless it's one of those where he's undergone his 4th knee surgery in 3 years. Right. So that doesn't bother me. So I don't know. My guess is they're not completely done yet.
Well, I think the key issue, and apart from the Rodgers discussion, is who's going to be their backup quarterback. Right now, they only have Rippon on the squad, and I think they're going to go elsewhere. And there's not a mad rush to sign the Gardner Minshew's or the Joe Flacco's of the world. So I think there's time to have those discussions and make sure they're in contact, which I'm sure they are, with those some of those players' agents to kind of see where gauging the temperature and saying just pump the brakes right now. I don't think any other team is rushing at the moment. So. But the main ones are still probably gone, and there's always going to be other players to be had, and then you got. After the draft, you got free agents that'll end up signing, and teams have had, including the Vikings, have had success signing guys off the street, as they say, who made their mark in college football, but for whatever reasons didn't get drafted. And they still end up making the team and making a contribution. So that's where scouting really comes in.
One member of the Vikings that has not re-signed or released, he's still under contract, but has not signed an extension, is Kwesi. And again, I don't know if that's. I'm not saying that says anything, but I do find it interesting that both Kwesi and O'Connell came at the same time. They always think those guys are kind of attached at the hip, and they immediately signed KOC, and rightly so. He was offensive coach of the year. What he's done so far has been exemplary. But I don't know why they haven't signed Kwesi. Do you have any idea as to why? Is it just a slower process?
It's a timing thing.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't think there's any?
No.
Why would they wait? Why would there be a timing thing? Do we know?
Just sometimes it's just that's the way it is. Maybe he's been busy. Maybe his agent's been busy. Just things happen. Contracts get held up for whatever reasons.
Really?
He's a pretty, he's an analytic. He's a economics guy. He's maybe a certain language he wanted in that contract that he wanted to put in there. You never know.
I have some advice for Kwesi.
That's it.
Get that contract done before the draft. Do it now in free agency while you're hot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's going to mess up the draft.
What would make you think that?
I mean, first of all, you're not going to know if he messes up the draft until after the season's over. So, I mean...
Plus, by the time we get to the draft, we might not have any picks. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is it possible that the contract has just got buried under another one and misplaced because there's a lot of them on that desk?
It's a busy desk.
It's a busy desk.
Right. There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
A lot of budget meetings. A lot of things
budget
happening.
meetings going on.
Yeah.
Tenneby, the way you were staring at the computer, I thought you were about to break some news about Aaron Rodgers. No?
God, would you give it up
I'm constantly refreshing to see some new news coming into the timeline.
I know
It's Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to know for another week.
I want him so bad. I just would love it to be such a circus.
Isn't it amazing, though, how at least every poll I've seen is like in the high 90s almost. Like, I want nothing to do with them.
Most people don't want anything to do with that. I think it's because of he's so aloof and he's so cocky and so arrogant and he's a know-it-all. And I think, and also because he played for the Green Bay Packers for all those years. I think that's the other reason. And I understand. He just doesn't seem to be. Maybe if you get to know him personally, if you're a pal of his, he's a great guy. He just doesn't seem to be that, at least.
And yet, I've seen some of the national scribes, national people weigh in saying, if Aaron Rodgers were to sign with the Vikings today, next to the Eagles, they might be the second team to pick to win the NFC.
See, I'm
going.
Really? I can see why they say that because of his track record, but his last couple of years, last year, he wasn't very good, and it wasn't all because of the competition and his teammates. You got to put some of it on him. He got better late, and then he missed the year before. And I think the year before that he was the MVP. So I wouldn't write him off and say he's got nothing left. But
didn't Favre have a similar situation with the Jets?
Yeah, I think that could. If my memory isn't really good, but I think that sounds right. I wouldn't write Rodgers completely off, but I mean, I don't. To me, I don't think it's wrong. I think if you make the assessment that his best days are behind him, I think that would be true. That doesn't mean he couldn't put a little something together and lead this club to the promised land.
You want it so bad. You can taste it.
And I think you know what he should do? Wear number 10 in honor of Tarkenton.
There you go. That number's been retired.
Pull it out of it. Fran should say, let's pull it out of it. Well, Fran's ego's pretty big, too. I don't think
Fran's not going to give his number away to Aaron Rodgers.
I think you are probably right. We'll pause, come back, one more segment. They've got nobody. They should not fear anybody, especially after last night. We'll see what Mark thinks about his Timberwolves. That's next here on The Fan.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you. Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Oh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Tenneby. The legendary Mark Rosen is here as well. Speaking of legendary meat sauce, his comedic stylings have been compared to that of Dennis Miller, Jerry Stiller, and Phyllis Diller. His comedy is basically an extension of himself, and he's been compared to the pioneers of comedy. Your opportunity to see Meat Sauce on stage is coming a week from tomorrow, along with the Common Man and Larry Mondello Guy. Mm-hmm. We will be at Bogart's in Apple Valley. It's the Flop, Sweat, and Tears tour. It continues, world tour, by the way. Tickets are available right now at bogartsentertainmentcenter.com. We'd love to see you there. Giving away a pair of tickets right now. By being the 11th caller at 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. If you are the 11th caller, you win a pair of tickets to see Flop, Sweat, and Tears a week from tomorrow night at Bogart's Entertainment Center. And again, if you'd like to purchase tickets, we would be excited and delighted to take your money. bogartsentertainmentcenter.com. That's bogartsentertainmentcenter.com. I'm beginning to think the Wolves might be the odds-on favorite to win the NBA title. They take on the Denver Nuggets last night. They're now have won their last 5 meetings with the Nuggets, 2 playoff games last year, as well as 3 games this year. They dominated. They led from start to finish. It appears right now that your mama can't stop the Wolves, your daddy can't stop them, the police can't stop them, Joker and Denver can't. This team is starting, they're gelling and they're stacking wins.
I'm glad you're finally seeing it my way.
Well, no, what you told me was they would gel after 20 games and then 30 games, then 40 games, then 50. It's taken 60 games.
No, wait a minute. I said when they get healthy.
Not early in the year. We go back early in the year, they were healthy. And you were saying, no, they'll gel. They will. And then I said, well, how long it'll take? And everybody said 20
Christmas.
games.
I said by Christmas, maybe.
No, I think you said 20 games.
Well, whatever the case may be, they're gelling.
But they are gelling now.
Time. Yeah, they are. And you're seeing and I will raise my hand and say, when I was watching Julius Randle earlier in the year, including the opener, it looked like he was a fish out of water. He had no context of what they wanted to do from a team standpoint. He looked rusty. He looked ragged. But he was also, my understanding is he was still recovering from a shoulder injury. But man, is he healthy now? And he's got a variety of ways he can beat you. And he passes the ball really well. Getting Gobert back. Obviously, this is the healthiest this team has been all year. And the Nuggets do not have an answer. They do not have a bench. Now, I know Aaron Gordon didn't play last night. He's a starter. But even with Aaron Gordon, they don't have a bench that can match up with the Wolves. We saw it last year in the postseason, and we're seeing it again this year. The Wolves barely had to, push that bench. I mean, Naz Reid didn't even have much of a game last night. DiVincenzo is playing. Man, I love watching him. I know he can knock down 3-pointers like no one's business, but he hustles his butt off on defense. He gets rebounds. He's scrambling around. And with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I mean, I like this team. Yes, I like this team. They're very capable of laying an egg at times. We've seen it against inferior opponents, and they got a bunch more now as the schedule eases up. But the question is, can they? They got to catch up to your team, Jimmy Buckets and Golden State Warriors, in order to get.
Good luck with that.
They're only a half game back, and Golden State's got a tougher schedule. Unfortunately, Minnesota doesn't play Golden State. They're about dead even.
Or fortunately.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe they don't want to play.
I think they want to play him. I love to play him.
Yeah, you at 75 years old sitting courtside, 73 sitting court. It's not we.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see the Timberwolves play him. I quit saying I'm 75.
I'm sorry. I've seen several quotes from basketball front office people that say you don't want to play Jimmy Buckets.
Well, Kendrick Perkins just said last night the Wolves are better than. It's nothing.
Vikings have made a move.
Aaron Rodgers coming to the purple.
They have traded guard Ed Ingram to the Houston Texans. They will get a 2026 6th-round pick in return.
There you go.
So we're getting our draft picks back.
Where was he drafted?
He was a second-rounder, wasn't he?
I think he was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Wow. You were a big Ed Ingram guy at the time, too. You were very high on it. Yeah, you were. You thought he was a great pick.
I never uttered a word about him. You're confusing me with Meat Sauce, who breaks down the draft.
You thought he was a great
I didn't know anything about Ed Ingram. That was the move they made, huh?
Let me just tell you this. You don't want any part of Jimmy Buckets, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry.
No, Perkins said the Wolves are. I think he was asked that question last night. I mean, a fun series. No, it would be a lot of fun. I mean, it's Jimmy Butler coming to Target Center in the playoffs. You kidding? A Steph Curry? Oh,
And Draymond Green?
Yeah, Draymond, Mr. Drama. But a lot of stuff has to happen before that happens. But more importantly, they're not going to look at Denver's way ahead of the Wolves. They're 42-24, and you watch that team last night and you go, yeah, I got Jokic, who's phenomenal, and he's wearing down a little bit. I think he's being asked to do a lot. I mean, he played 38 tough minutes last night, and let him have his points. I mean, Russell Westbrook, they could say he's over the hill, but he shot well last night, and they still never led for a second in the game last night, and really were never threatened. They cut the lead to 5, I think, at one point, Minnesota, but the Wolves were passing the ball effectively. Their defense is in top form again. That was the thing I was impressed with. They're just ball hawks. They have a hard time. Teams have a hard time really doing a lot of damage, which was a weak point for quite a while for this team. So, are they peaking at the right time? Yeah, they got a ways to go. We got how many more games left? 17, 18? I don't know. But they don't even have to use some of the younger players who are getting significant minutes before. Jalen Clark and Terrence Shannon. Dillingham played 5 minutes and looked kind of out of sorts last night. It was garbage time. But, they have players they can come off the bench much more so than even had a year ago when they had, Slow-Mo and Jordan McLaughlin and I know a couple other guys. You think
this team's deep is what you're saying?
I do. Yeah, they are. They are deep.
Are they deeper than Oklahoma City, do you think?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I think, Oklahoma City's starting 5. You could argue with SGA in particular.
You could say Oklahoma City has the deepest team in the NBA.
They're pretty damn efficient.
They're really deep.
They are. Well, they run 9-10 guys.
But I think it's possible that the Wolves might be approaching that.
But I don't think it's I think that the conversation is anyone are you going to be shaking in your boots if you play OKC? And listen, I wish them well. If they win, if they go ahead and win the whole thing. They put themselves in a position to do so this year. They stay healthy. I hope they do. I want to see the best against the best, and I hope it comes down to that. But I don't think Denver, Memphis,
so you want to see Oklahoma
Houston,
City against Golden State, the best against the best.
You do. I don't.
No, I just like to get you going because I like playing with local fans because they get excited. Like right now, before that win, that great comeback against Oklahoma City, you were like, well, if we can maybe get the 6th seed, it'd be great. Yeah. After that win, it was like, we have nobody to fear. We might get the 2nd seed and we're going to win the NBA title. That's one game. I mean, but I like how fans.
Win the NBA title.
I like, well, you could see the glint in your eye.
No, don't put words in my mouth.
You were planning the play route in your mind.
No. I mean, the 6th seed's about as high as they're going to get, which is fine.
Well, they're only, Tennessee, how far are the Wolves out of the 2nd spot?
I thought they were 3.5.
Let me get 3.5 out of the number 2 spot, Mark. I think they're going to
4.5. 4.5 out of the 2 spot.
I think they're going to get to. I think they could get to 3.
Yeah, because the Nuggets are 42-24, and the Wolves are 30.
We get the tiebreaker over them, and we get to play them one more time.
Yeah, we do. We do get to play them one more time.
That's correct. We get to beat them one more time.
Correct. So that's fun again. Look, just want to see this team achieve its potential, and I think they are playing much more as a team for the first time this season right now.
Conley had a quote about injuries. I don't know if you saw it.
I don't think I did, but go ahead.
He said he think that might have been and I'm paraphrasing, a blessing in disguise because it allowed the younger players to get some more experience.
They did.
It's preposterous because injuries are never a blessing. What you do is you just have a coach that when his players are healthy, he still finds time to play players on the bench in games. You play them in blowouts. You play them in games where how many? Look here. I don't know if you saw this quote either. You must not have saw the game. Or here was a quote from Finch. It was the last paragraph of the story today, where he said, When we play, part of our issue is bringing the same focus and intensity level and commitment to the game, no matter who we're playing. When we play these top teams and teams we have great familiarity with, we tend to take it a bit more personal.
Right.
We have to do that all the time. That's what all the better teams do is they take nights off, which is bad. But right, but it shouldn't happen. Just to say it happens is unacceptable to me.
I know, but
here's the point I'm getting to. The point I'm getting to is, if you know your team does that, And he can't control it because obviously he would if he could. He can't get them to do it. The inmates run the asylum. So then in games like that, when you're playing teams that your starters aren't giving it, that's when you give your bench players a little bit more playing time. If you're looking at the game as this is almost loser-proof to us, then let's go ahead and play. Let's go and play these young guys, the Garzas of the world and the Shannonses of the world. And you're a guy that you had your eye on for all this time, the Jalen Clarkses of the world. Play those guys in those games. You don't need to wait for an injury to get guys experience. And now they can go deeper. And so let's say Ant gets in foul trouble in game 2 of the first round of the series. And now you can go, this guy's played a lot. I trust him, instead of saying, he's played about a grand total of 12 minutes. What are we going to do? I think more coaches should do that. I know Tibbs is a guy that didn't go deep on a bench. I don't know what the rest of the league does. I don't pay close enough attention. I don't know if the Miami Heat go deep, if Golden State goes deep, and OKC seems to. I think that's good. So you don't have to wait. You could look at it as a blessing in disguise, but I just say, well, there's a way to. Even if you don't have to wait for injuries to give guys experience. You used to plead with the coach to play Garza more, and now that they have. These guys, I think you can trust them a little bit more.
Yeah, but now he's not playing. He probably won't be playing nearly as much. But
if you have to go to him,
in a crucial situation,
let's say Gobert, Nas, and other guys get into some foul trouble in a playoff game. You can go, well, Garza now is at least plays. At least I can go out there and he's got a chance where he's been in some games.
Yeah, so. And I think that you're seeing, and Finch admits he's extending his bench. I mean, last year and he'd play. Maybe 7 guys, 8 guys at the most, and then he wouldn't trust anyone else on the court. Now he's established a trust that these players have earned their trust. And it starts with DiVincenzo, who doesn't start, but to me is the most integral part of the guys coming off the bench on this basketball team. And Naz Reid, you got to obviously include as well, since Gobert's back and playing at a pretty high level again with his stat sheet last night and the way he played. But Naz didn't have a good shooting night, but it didn't matter because DiVincenzo kind of picked up the slack and. They got enough other bodies they can. So they just don't lose games to Utah.
Do you think we would have more success selling Flop, Sweat, and Tears tour tickets if instead of calling it Flop, Sweat, and Tears, we called it like America's Comedy Show?
No.
Doesn't that have a nice ring to it? America's Comedy Show.
I like it.
I love
Tomorrow, we're going to give away tickets to America's Comedy Show, is what we're going to do. We'll be giving away and the Power Trip will be giving away tickets as well, to America's Comedy Show.
For sure, that's the new title?
Common Man, Meat Sauce, and Larry Mandela.
Wow.
America's Comedy Show. I like it. It sounds good. It's got a nice ring to it. It sounds big. It sounds bigger than it really is. It sounds big. It sounds bold. And you know what else it sounds like, Teneby? Funny. Side splitting.
I love America and I love comedy.
Yeah, side splitting humor, rolling in the aisles. Will you appear for next Friday?
I told you I got plans. I got plans with friends, and it's movie night. Remember I told you that?
New Hope Cinema Grill. Yeah, they also are showing movies.
I know they show movies there.
So you could watch a movie.
Yeah, and just entertain.
And then you can come over and do a little comedy for us.
Oh, you want me to be on stage?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. Man. So you could do a few minutes. Karn's never seen you do comedy.
No, I'm pretty funny at home.
Huh?
So what's showing at the Cinema Grill next?
I have no idea.
Well, we're not at Cinema. We're at Bogart's. That's the problem.
You're at Bogart's. You're not at Cinema Grill. Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's an issue.
But you could do that on movie night next time. How about that? Do double duty. Do a movie.
I could. You're right.
Also,
you're right.
What else do you? Anything else? How about the Twins? You
pretty quiet, right? I'm not sitting there glued to the.
No, but if you
hearing our sage one Lavelli Neal,
he thinks this team is going to hit.
Yeah, yes. Well, we already know they can pitch.
He says they'll swing the sticks.
Yeah, correct.
Well, he said, if we could get 120 games out of Correa, Buxton, and Lewis.
Right.
And I was wondering, did he mean 120 games
total?
Each or 120 games combined? Because I think it's a better chance we'll get 120 combined.
The negativity in this town just sucks.
Well, this happens every spring in every sport in every city. I think where pitching looks good and bullpen's better. And
I
know. And I will say that the Twins, we've talked about this on a number of occasions. Till the collapse last year, they were in first place. They looked like odds-on favorites to win the division. Their lineup can be good when guys are playing to their capabilities, and the lineup's okay. A couple of good bullpen arms. But it's America's comedy show, comedy for America. It's so good.
Get that.
How about make America funny again?
I like that.
Tennessee, you like that? Make America. Mafa, make America.
You could sell some hats.
Yes.
Get some red hats. And
that should pick up the ticket selling pace. Make America.
I don't think anyone's used that.
No, not make America funny again.
Yeah, and then Meat Sauce gets up there. And,
yeah.
You guys come up with some great ideas on this show.
You start the comedy show with a national anthem.
Here's I always like this complaint. Imagine if there was a state in this country that is known as the state of hockey, and the local sports station only talk nonsense about basketball and football. You'd think they were insane. That's how I feel about the fan every day. NBA and NFL, a cure for the insomnia. Move along.
Well, let's see. PA did a show from the XL Center the day.
Yeah.
Talk hockey and...
That's exactly right. Plus, here's what we do here on the show. You have to earn your airtime as a local team. The Wolves are on a roll right now. They're playing very, very well. They just beat Denver 5th time in a row. They're climbing up. They're starting to peak at the right time. The Vikings are always the biggest story in this town. They just made some massive signings in free agency.
Right.
The Wild are barely keeping their head above water. I'm sorry. If the Wild we spent plenty of time, Tennessee and I, talking about the Wild when they got off to that great start at the beginning of the season. Kaprizov got off to the best start he's ever gotten off to.
Right.
He was the front runner which one is the
Hart
MVP?
Trophy?
For the Hart Trophy. We talked about the Wild all the time. If they can rise like a phoenix from the ashes, we will give them you have to earn your airtime on this show. We don't just, the obligatory, guess we need to talk about this sport.
Plus we got to talk about Go for Bat. They
fired their head coach. Sorry.
Well, yeah, and they had a gritty win over Colorado. That in a way they have to play the game right now. They play a Rangers team tonight that's not particularly great, but fighting for a playoff spot. And you just have to watch them grind it out. That's just the style of hockey they have to play. It's not the most exciting hockey, but as long as they have Boldy and Faber and Marco Rossi out there and Gus Bus and goal, then you got give yourself a shot. There you go.
There you go. There's your hockey talk.
And waiting and Brodin was skating today. That was a good sign. Doesn't mean he's close to returning, but at least he was out there on the ice. The other two guys, main guys, not yet. No.
This is better. No! Mala. Making America laugh again.
Wow.
Because with this, there hasn't been much to laugh at here in this country for a while now.
Correct.
Except for Meat Sauce, Common Man, and Larry Mandela. Yeah. Making America laugh again. That's what we're doing. Tenby, can you at least give me one more fake laugh? Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's great.
So, Making America Laugh Again. The Making America Laugh Again tour continues at Bogart's coming up a week from tomorrow. Tickets available at Bogart's Entertainment.
You guys could make up T-shirts and have your picture, Sauce, and Larry Mandela guy, like the Three Stooges, on the T-shirt. That'd be funny.
Let me guess, Timmy, you think it's funny. Boy, what a bad break. We don't get to talk to you tomorrow.
Oh, no. Well, I'll call in if it's an emergency call in if the Vikings sign Aaron Rodgers.
Very good. You're on call. We'll see you on next Tuesday, right?
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a big day tomorrow. It's Program Password 200th show. We're going to do it live from the Performance Studio, or whatever to call it, the press box. We're going to have upwards of 60, 70 KFAN advertising partners, current and maybe would be. It should be fun. It'll be Lil B and Marnie against Max and I. That'll be at 1:30. Thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We're back tomorrow, 12 noon. Big Ticket and JG. They're next. You're in the Fan.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Just keep battling. And just keep battling.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Your stomach is a mess and you feel lousy. Something is just off, but you don't know what. Yeah, we get it. You've tried every fad diet and supplement under the sun, and none of it worked. Here's the truth. Your gut's a mess, and your body is letting you know. You're just too busy, and you ignore the signs, making it worse. Viome gets straight to the point, analyzing your gut microbiome to give you a personalized health plan that actually works. Your gut is how your body processes everything that you consume. Stop ignoring the signs. It's time to do something real. Get Viome and fix your gut now. Dial **GUT to get $110 off any test. That's *488 to receive a link to the offer.
It's tax season, and by now, I know we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's an important one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Here's another, 20%. That's the overall increase in identity theft related to tax fraud in 2024 alone. But it's not all grim news. Here's a good number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's US-based restoration specialists will fix it, backed by another good number, the $1 Million Protection Plan. In fact, restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Don't face identity theft and financial losses alone. There's strength in numbers with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection for tax season and beyond. Join now and save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code IHEART or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.